Good evening, peeps. Welcome to Spiritual Show. All right, so I have some announcements and then I'm going to introduce my very special guest because these people, I love them. Yes. So here we go. Um, Check out World Awake at worldawake.org, bridging interfaith and interspiritual communities, bringing unity into those communities. So linking spirit, service, and care providers. All right. So check out that web page. I'm running my November special next month. If you want a session with me, an intuitive reading and energy session with me, there's $60 for 45 minutes. Please email me at agangofgirlsinc@gmail.com. And Haunted, the Kindle book, is on sale right now for free. So check that out. It's on Amazon. Haunted, a psychic story until October 31st. It's its anniversary. So it's 8-year anniversary. All right. And then next week is the astrology show. So Kendra Lockhart will be with me next week. And we're going to talk about what you can expect astrology speaking during November. That way you can write down your special dates and get ready for November. All right. I know a lot of you have asked me questions about astrology. I'm going to hand them over to Kendra so she can work them into her information. We just went through a full moon lunar eclipse and it was pretty rocking. So remember, eclipse energy hangs out for the next 6 months. So whatever you are releasing, whatever it is that you're working on, be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself because this energy will assist you with clearing. Well, very fun for us. All right. So tonight, my special guests are Susan and Tracy Todd. And I've known them for quite some time. They're awesome people. Check out their webpage at emeraldcoastparanormalconcepts.com. They have an awesome webpage with a lot of information about paranormal activity and the places that they go to. I've been on paranormal investigations with them, and Tracy is really good about teaching what's going on in the environment and how he uses his fancy paranormal tools. So he's going to talk a little bit about that in just a little while. All right. So they are very special guests. I hope you all like them. If you have questions, please put them in the comments. I'm going to be watching comments online. I'll be back and forth. So that way your questions about the Florida Caverns get answered and paranormal investigations. Okay? All right. So this is their mission for Emerald Coast Paranormal Concepts. Their mission is to assist the living to understand paranormal activity in their lives. We take an unbiased, logical, scientific, professional approach. You guys know I love that stuff, right? So at the same time, we attempt to discover the truth behind the event. Remember we talked about debunking a couple weeks ago. All right. So Emerald Coast Paranormal Concepts is a group specializing in investigation of paranormal phenomena. Our vision is to collect information and analyze available evidence regarding the phenomenon experienced by the living and attempt to locate a cause and solution. Each member of our team is internally trained by Emerald Coast Paranormal Concepts and adheres to its methodology and philosophy regarding situations deemed as paranormal phenomena. We further affirm that we are dedicated to the continued study of the paranormal and help our clients develop a better understanding of what they're experiencing in their lives. So we're going to talk about the Florida haunted caverns tonight, and probably some other places as well. But remember, we talked about hypothesis and paranormal investigators. Like, they're there to show you, to find phenomena and show you what it is. It is a hypothesis. All right. So make sure when you're listening to Tracy tonight that you're thinking with that part of your brain. All right. Because some of you might get a little upset because of the way he speaks. Don't be. Paranormal investigations are not ghost hunting. We don't run around and act like lunatics. We're actually there to discover something. Right? Okay. So these are my friends, Susan and Tracy Todd. And we're going to talk about, so first of all, what is the Florida Caverns? And yeah, and I have more questions, but what is the Florida Caverns? Where is it?
The Florida Caverns are located in Marianna, Florida, and they are caverns that were developed 38 million years ago. They consist of limestone and flowing water.
So, oh, it's limestone.
Yeah. So, as many caverns are formed, the water and the acidity of the rainwater and so on flows through the cracks, and it becomes these caverns, these big old caves.
And so, how are there lots of caverns, or is it just one big cavern?
There are numerous caverns around where the Florida State Caverns are. There's offshoots of caverns, but they haven't been able to go in there and actually connect them. But the proximity to them all would pretty much say that they're all connected somewhere.
Okay. So it's limestone. Cool. Okay. So why did you go to investigate the Florida Caverns? What brought you there?
That's a very good question. Because of the limestone, because of the flowing water, and also the Native Americans, the Seminoles and the Creeks, used that location to hide from Andrew Jackson while he was collecting Native Americans to take them to the Trail of Tears. As you recall, the Bellamy Bridge Heritage Trail intersects with the Trail of Tears. So all that anguish and pain associated with the Native Americans on that trail, the limestone and the flowing water, I'm just like, we got to get in there. We got to get in there.
Because just with all the with everything together, the stone, the water, the events that have transpired over the years, with all that put together, it would just kind of make sense to me that there would be some type of activity there.
Right. And so did the Indians go down there when they were walking the Trail of Tears, or no?
Yeah, they would, when they were actually fleeing Andrew Jackson.
Okay.
They would go down into the caves and hide.
Oh, and the Union soldiers would go down there as well.
Correct.
I don't necessarily think they knew about the caverns the way the Native Americans did.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, because it was their home turf,
Right. So,
but I have to also assume also that I don't think it was just a hiding space. I think it was somewhere for them to take cover in bad weather, like hurricanes, places like that, things like that. And I think, I don't have any proof because none of it was, on record or anything. But the caverns itself just kind of makes sense to me that this would be, you could go down the caverns, light a fire, and you'd warm up, 100 square foot. I can picture these Indians going down there and staying the night, having children down there because it was warm, whatever the case was.
And during a hurricane, they would be safe.
Yeah, till it flooded.
Right.
Well, I don't know if it would flood.
So while you're down there, when you've been down there, what have you discovered? I mean, do you go to different places in the caverns? Because I know you take groups down there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, there's in the caverns itself, when back in I'm not sure the date, but they hired a company to go in there and start digging it out and making it into a state park so people could visit it.
Right.
I forgot. Well, what the heck was the question?
So okay. So what when you do the investigation? Because see, I know that
the rooms.
How much room is down there? I mean, how many people can fit down there?
Well, if you were to put them butts to elbows, you could probably put 1,000 people.
What?
Through the whole cave.
That fast?
Yeah, through the whole cave. Yeah. Now, each of the caverns are broke down into rooms. Let's just call them rooms. And there's 6 rooms, 5 rooms. There's
more than that. We just don't go to all of them. That's true.
But
okay, so when you do your investigation, you do it in the dark, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Like it's really dark. You bring flashlights and stuff down there, don't you? I mean,
we don't. We'll turn them on when we get to whatever room we're in, and then we'll turn everything off. And I mean, you can't see anything. I mean, nothing.
It is
pitch black. And we bring our IR cameras down there so we can actually see. But just the fact that you're in that darkness, right? I mean, your eyes are trying to see. Your eyes are trying to pick up some light, and they can't. Then, it can make your mind start wandering.
Yeah.
Freak you out a little bit.
Because you might start what do they call it? Matrixing, like when you think you see something and you're not seeing.
Right.
It's not really what you're seeing. Yeah. Right. Okay. And then it's a cavern, so sound carries. So have you got some really good EVP in there?
No. It's very down there in the caverns. They have like the cave crickets. They're
cave crickets.
Yeah, they're cave crickets. There's the bats.
They have little bats in the ceiling. They're
as big
as
it's probably no bigger than half the size of your pinky.
Really, they're so cute.
Yeah, cute.
But there's all these noises down there, and some of them
water.
Yeah, some of them actually sound like voices, but because of the atmosphere that we're in and the water running and the water dripping and the bats and these crotch crickets and So it's hard to determine when it comes to EVPs. It really and truly is.
So what kind of paranormal activity do you pick up down there?
Well,
'Cause
most of it,
it's not like going to the rest house, it's an environment that's not quiet, that is
controlled.
not, controlled, right.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. So when we first went in there, it was just the team and the couple of guides, tour guides that went with us. We had no hope. I mean, we were hoping that we'd get something, but I really wasn't expecting,
Right.
because there was nothing on record of anything there except one incident, and that was the peanut butter man. He was working down in the caves, had lunch, was eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and just had a heart attack and died.
Oh,
So
oh,
word has it that at that location where he did this, you can sometimes smell peanut butter. We have yet to smell that.
okay.
But what? Oh, you're looking at me like I'm nuts. But so there was no expectation for us to have activity, because there was a reason for it. I thought there could be,
Uh-huh,
but then I would think, well, why would there be?
right.
So we started off in was the first or second room we went to?
Second.
The second room we went to, that was just me, Susan, and Dee, right?
Mhm.
Oh,
And a
Dee was
couple of
there,
them.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a couple of Lou was there. I think one or two other guides. But I mean, it was almost instantaneous.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it took, because normally it takes us a little bit to, if there is something there, to get them to come out, but it was almost instantaneous. And with asking questions, pursuing possibilities,
Mhm.
but she
Mhm.
would use our devices. She couldn't speak, we'd asked her to move things. She couldn't do that, but she was
Right.
more than happy to use our REM pods and our K2s and stuff like that to communicate with us. And it didn't take her long to figure them out either.
Do we know what her name is?
No,
Okay.
because like I said, the only record of anybody ever dying in there was Mr. Peanut Butter Man. So what does Lou call her?
Abigail.
Abigail. Lou is one of the tour guides that was there that actually helped us get into the caves.
Right.
Yeah, he's a big follower of our team. So he was able to help us get in there. But Lou was with us, and he just feels that that's what her name is. And he's down there 3 or 4 times a day in those caves giving tours. So we will go ahead and call her Abigail, because she seems to answer to Abigail and likes it when we call her Abigail. And should we say the story, or?
No, we don't want to give away the story.
Okay.
So we're not going to give away any story, but she can answer yes and no questions through the REM.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. She's
So what?
a
Okay,
very, very strong spirit.
First of all, for the audience, what is a REM pod?
So REM pod is an electromagnetic field device. It's a little round thing. It's got some lights on it. It's got alarms on it. It's got an antenna that sticks straight out the top of it. And through the antenna, it emits a field around the device. And when you break that field, the lights and the alarms go off.
And she's able to break the field and answer yes and no questions.
Yeah, because we have it set up to where if she does it just one time, breaks that field one time, then that'd be a no answer. If she breaks it twice, is a yes answer. And if she breaks it 3 times, then that would be an I don't know answer, or I don't want to answer.
Right. So that is pretty cool. Now, we're not going to give away the whole story of Abigail tonight, as Susan said, because we want you to go to the Florida Caverns. If you are in Florida, or if you go to Florida, that way you can get a hold of Susan and Tracy. Now, they only do these tours. You do these tours only in October?
November.
In November. Okay,
Yeah.
so they do these tours in November. So you can check them out. Again, you can see the banner below, but check out their website at emeraldcoastparanormalconcepts.com, and you can email them from there. That way you can see when they're doing the tours and go with them. You never know what might happen. It's always different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is Abigail the only spirit that you talk to down there?
No. There's a sot sorta. He's basically, drunken poker player. We have actually, I don't know, where did I put the no? Yeah, I think I put it on.
Is it up on your website?
No, it's not up on our website. It's they could probably find it on our Facebook page, because I know I posted it there, of us playing poker with this gentleman. And what's funny about it is when we were playing, it was Susan and this gentleman playing poker. And we had his cards flipped down, right?
Yes.
So his cards were flipped down on the base of the caverns. Susan was looking at hers. So nobody touched his cards. So we're asking him, 5-card draw. How many cards Susan wants? She took the cards that she wanted. We asked the guy how many he wanted. I don't think he said.
He indicated on the rim pod 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5 cards.
I don't remember the exact number he requested. So we gave him those numbers. And then flipped over the cards, and he knew he had won before he had even flipped over his cards.
Time and time, I've played poker with him. What?
3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times.
And he flips over the cards.
He
doesn't flip over the cards, but nobody can see the cards, and we can't see what his hand is.
Okay.
I deal the cards to him, and I deal the cards to myself as the dealer. Ask him how many cards he wants, because I lay them out face down so he can't see him. Nobody joining us can see him. He'll tell me he wants 2 cards, 3 cards, and I'll point which one, and he'll indicate on the rim pod whether he wants me to trade out that card. Ariel, he wins every time. Every time.
And then when you ask him, say, do you want to hold? Do you want to fold? And then he would hold. Then Susan would flip over her cards, and he would win every time.
Oh, wow. Playing spirit poker. That's cool. And he would win. That's even
And he would win.
All right. Okay.
And then there's, that's it, right? Those 2. And then there's,
so far.
Yeah, and that's it so far.
But that's still quite a bit.
Well, considering, if in fact they are who they say they are, it is quite a bit. And it's really, really, really strange that they would be there for any reason. You know?
It is kind of strange, but if you think about like history of caverns, like there people hide out in them, pirates hide their treasures in them. People live in caverns. You know, they've
Yeah.
done that. I mean, and if this cavern has been around for that long, you would think that there would be some type of activity that's happened. I mean, even residual energy in that cavern because
Right.
it's limestone and water.
Right.
Well, then there's one other, I hate to call them a thing, because that's probably not proper, but at this point in time, that's all we can call it. But when we're at this one part in the cave, if we're in the room that we're in, if we looked over our shoulder, there's the walkthrough that we just came through, and there's a it's like a piece of PVC pipe that sticks up with a reflector on it.
Right.
And you can kind of see the reflector because when our cameras are on, there is some light in there when the cameras are on, and you can see the reflector. And you could sit there in that room and watch that reflector, and it would get blocked out. Something would walk in front of it. But it doesn't want anything to do with us. It kind of stays behind us. And every now and again, we'd hear something out of the ordinary behind us. But we don't know what it is. Susan thinks it may be Native American. And she thinks it may, he kind of watches over the cave, maybe.
Like a guardian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So
there's
this-
lots of guardian spirits that are in like sacred places like that. You know, I've met a couple in different places in the United States that were like that. They're just there to make sure everybody's cool. You're not like messing up his environment.
I agree with you, and I think that that's what this is, some type of a guardian. It just stands to reason it would be a Native American. And just like when we investigate the Bellamy Bridge, there is a spot at the Bellamy Bridge where everybody gets the heebie-jeebies. Like they get a feeling like get out, leave, and that they're being followed up the trail.
Mm-hmm. Or at least watch.
I believe that too, and that is right close to where the Trail of Tears intersects with the Bellamy Bridge Heritage Trail. So I get the same impression that that's what's going on in the caverns. Now this year, we want to spend a lot more time in that particular room trying to get this figured out.
Well, we did, or Lou did, that the guide there, he did leave an offering in a little tiny woven basket of tobacco.
Right.
And Lou, we didn't see where Lou put it, but he put it in a location that nobody, when you're doing the cave tours, you wouldn't see it, so you wouldn't mess with it. But Lou he put it in there, and I think the next day on his first tour, he looked for it and it was gone. But again, did somebody actually see it from a cave at one of the tours and go, "Ooh, what is this?"
Right.
We don't know, but
yeah. Well, I mean, the offering, it's still spirits acknowledge offerings. They do, whether it gets taken away or not. I used to know this gal who she had a spirit plate. So every time they had dinner, The plate was put on the table with everyone else's plate. The setting was there, the full setting, and the food got put on that plate. Now, I had been to her house lots of times, and this one night it was kind of chaotic because we had like 26 people there for dinner, and she forgot to put food on that plate. And we all sat down and we all did our thing, and she did her prayer and everything, and that plate levitated off up and flew across the room.
Wow.
It scared the living crap out of me. At first I thought it was one of the kids, like throwing the plate, and my kids were sitting next to me and they were like, "Whoa, did you see that?" I'm like, "Holy crap." And she goes, "Oh, this happens when I forget to put food on the plate,"
Yeah.
So you never know what can happen. He might have said, "Oh, wow, this is cool." Or somebody, like you said, one of the other tour guides might have seen it as well. But
yeah, who knows?
It's I don't know. It's unlikely because it was under a rock. And you would have had to have seen where he put it. It's just kind of odd.
Right. You should try it again.
Yeah.
Plan on it.
Again.
Yep.
Put a little
Well,
camera.
we're gonna go down there, and there's a group that's gonna go with us in December because we have one tour in December,
Mhm.
and two tours, sorry, and the folks that were with us last night at the Russ House.
Right.
And it's funny because all the people at the Russ House that were there last night are the same people that bought that tour
On the same day.
on the same day. They don't know each other.
But still, that's pretty cool because one of the things, and we're talking about the Florida Caverns, but Susan and Tracy also investigate what they've been talking about, the Bellamy Bridge, which I've been to the Bellamy Bridge and I felt that spirit, and I threw a rose quartz at it, and as an offering, not at it, but to it, and so I've been on that investigation. I've been to the Russ House as well, and so it would make sense if you're going to be doing tours and they enjoyed what happened at the Russ House, because the Russ House is a contained place and there is paranormal activity there.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot.
And there's a lot at the Bellamy Bridge as well. So here's the thing. I have a hypothesis that spirits move around.
Yeah.
They move from place to place. Do you think that your poker man might move from the Bellamy Bridge to the caverns because he's seen you so many times at the bridge?
I don't know. It's difficult for me to. I'm sure that's possible. And the reason it's hard for me to think that is probable, but I understand it's possible.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah, well, like the prankster that used to be at the Russ House.
Yes.
There was, remember that one investigation we did at the market?
Mm.
And so Marianne is about 50 miles away from here.
Yes.
So and the prankster would announce himself by doing the shave and a haircut routine on the REM pod. That's who,
Yes.
When he came in and did that, everybody knew that was him. So we were doing an investigation here locally in town, and that came up. Shave and a haircut did, out of the blue. But it just did it one time, and I couldn't get anything else out of him. But I don't know.
Well, he might have just did it to let you know that he was around, because maybe I do believe that spirits will they they're all connected. And so just like we are, and if he knew or if he heard you say where you were going to be,
Yeah.
why wouldn't he be there? It's a hypothesis that I have because I've seen it happen in, especially in Chicago, in neighborhoods where spirits are what I call like tourists. They tour the houses. They don't necessarily stay in each house for very long, but they haunt the neighborhood. And so they kind of go from place to place.
Yeah.
And so my feeling is that if a spirit likes you, maybe they're not haunting you, but they'll show up just to
Well,
let
and that's kind of, I know we're going to talk about the caverns, but that's
you know.
kind of what's going on at the Russ house, because prankster's no longer there. There's only what, two that are regulars now.
Yes.
So there's only two that are regulars now, but there's always a third or a fourth now that are different the next time we go. They're never the same.
The beacon.
So it being like you're saying, a tourist, that kind of falls into the line of our idea of that when we're doing this, our minds and our collective consciousness are one.
Right.
And because of that, we are emitting this huge light.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we do it, the more we concentrate, the more we get involved in it, the brighter the light. And I think it's like you put it, these so-called tourists see this light and go, well, let's go see what's going on over there.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so here's a question, and this is from my mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
I'm going to show it to you guys. All right. So she says, I thought spirits were anchored to one place. I guess they can attach themselves to a human, like David attached himself to your brother. Yeah, David attached himself to Lair, but
Well,
they're not all anchored.
well, true. And I think those particular circumstances where David has attached himself to his brother is out of the norm. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think and which is upsetting to some people, because some people would think that if their brother, their sister, somebody they loved very much, they would hope for that attachment. So on the other side of that, I can see it upsetting people. But I think spirits can attach themselves to anyone they want. Now,
Right.
but there's two sides to that. There's their side, then there's our side. And if you're mentally strong, and especially if you don't want it, there's ways to keep that from happening.
Right.
Go ahead. That's your cue, because you're the metaphysical woman. So, but Ariel, that Susan and I do this different. I mean, her outlook is more metaphysical. I'm more analytical.
Right. Well,
So,
that makes you guys a good team, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. The metaphysical part of it. The stones and the rocks and the
stones and the
protecting
rocks.
yourself.
Well, I'll tell you guys that last week I was walking in downtown Greensboro, and I was just taking a walk because I'm getting used to the place. And as I'm walking down the street, there was an 18th century gentleman that started walking next to me. And he was like, "You can see me, right?" He said it a little bit more like genteel, but I was
Right.
like, "Yeah, you're not allowed to come home with me." That's what I said. But we walked down the street together, and it was really it happens, it does happen more often than not, but it is always interesting to get the perspective of what a spirit saw during his time and how he enjoys now, and all the
Right.
people that are in his city, his town, because that's
Right.
what he's look at all these people in my town. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
can't talk to you really right now, right?
Yeah. Keep up next. I'm getting more tea.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Susan. Go ahead.
I just,
She
I
dozed off there for a minute.
I was like daydreaming, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, I
All right,
apologize.
so I wanted to know, okay, because we are still talking about the Florida Caverns. So in your mind, in what you have experienced at the Florida Caverns, and I'm going to ask you about the other places as well, but so those are the three spirits that you'll find there if you go on the paranormal investigation with y'all. Do they
For
always
now,
show up?
yes,
They do.
yes. One room is the female. There's another room, the male, and then there's the third room, which is unknown at this time.
Okay.
I'm not. I have an idea, but I'm really not sure at this point. We only get to get in there. This is the first year we've done Fridays and Saturdays. In the past we were only able to get in there 4 Saturdays out of the year because the park belongs to the state and it's kind of difficult to get permission to get in there. And every year we have to reapply to be able to do these tours. And so it's hard for our research because we cannot be as consistent as we would like to. But we'll take whatever they give us because
Right.
we're grateful for the opportunity.
And so, and is that the same? Is it the same process as when you do your paranormal investigations at the Bellamy Bridge?
One is county and one is state, so it's a little easier because we have a really good relationship with Jackson County, and the state is a whole different way to go about business. You have to write, and it's a little more difficult with the state as opposed to the county. That we have, like I said, we've had over many years a great working relationship with them. So
Yeah, it's not like I think if we were to find a new spot up in Jackson County somewhere, I don't think, even if it was state run, county run, city run, whatever, because of the relationship that we have built with them, I think it'd be a piece of cake. I mean, I don't even think they'd question it.
And so, with other paranormal teams that are working different places, is that, doing that, working with the local people, the towns, the counties, and the state is a good way to develop the relationship so that so they also could get into, because there's a lot of places that you need permission to go
Oh,
into, that, everywhere that you go. If it's
Yeah.
not a privately owned place, you would have to develop a relationship with the towns in order to do relations or get invited.
well, and you're absolutely right. And it's a win-win for them and it's a win-win for us that we get to investigate, them because it's always a fundraiser. We give that money right back to that particular location. We also bring in people. They stay at the local hotels. They eat in the local restaurants, go to the gift shops, whatever. So everybody wins in this particular situation.
Because when you
Yeah.
when you do the paranormal investigations at the rest house, you all helped with funding for the renovation.
Correct.
Yeah, and we still do, and it's okay. I'm just going to come out and say it, but the paranormal field as a whole, I think, is declining big time.
Do you
Okay?
really?
It's not. Yeah, it's not as popular as it once was. In the way I see it. However, with the teams that are still out there, because I hardly see any new teams joining.
Right.
Okay. Now,
Yeah,
some of the
I don't
teams and then some of the teams that when we all started, I don't think but a couple are still
Right.
around.
No, that's true.
Me too. Right.
But even though I think that those ones that are still out there, and even if they're not doing anything, my opinion is they should go to their local whoever, say, listen, do you have something we can help you donate funds for? Is there a particular building you're looking to get funds for? Let us come in and help you. Well, we can put on an investigation there, whether it's haunted or not, and we can raise money for you. I think this is where the paranormal field needs to go. I think it needs to, because it helps us with, like she was saying, with our data collection and our investigations. Plus, it helps them to be able to keep a building alive, so to speak. And I think that's where this needs to start heading to.
Well, I think it's a great idea, and with the rest house, as you said, like it has the energy in the rest house has changed,
Yeah.
and so you've been investigating the rest house for how many years now?
10.
Almost 13.
You've documented and you've investigated and documented the rest house for that long. So
Yeah.
you've been able to see how the investigations have been able to change in that long, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the key right there, being able to go back. This is, like you said, the difference between a ghost hunter and an investigator. We can see the changes. We can document from our one investigation to another, learn about the house, the consistencies, and it's a good thing for us to be able to go back to the same place over and over and over again. Unlike going to somebody's house and clearing negative energy out,
Mm-hmm.
you're not growing as an investigator or growing yourself as a team with those like one-hit wonders.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So one big change that I have seen at the Russ House in all these years is technology affects everybody's lives every day.
Yes.
Technology changes every day. And we have been able to witness the actual change in spirits as they are adapting to our technology.
Yes.
So when we first started at the Russ House, we had the cameras, we had all this, but most of our stuff was, because we didn't have all these expensive toys that we have now. All we had are basic U recorders and a camera. And the EVPs were off the chain from the Russ House. So 5 years comes, all these new electronic tools, all these new devices. Now we're starting to make it easier and easier and easier and easier for them to communicate with us.
Yep.
So the EVPs are going away. The knocking on the walls is going away. because they find it using our newest technology a lot easier to use than using whatever energy they have to try to speak or to try to reach up and knock on a door.
Right. And there's this one new thing that I have actually watched work, and it's called Ghost Tube, and it's an app, and you can actually hear the ghost speaking.
Hmm.
And so, and I thought about that as well, instead of, and so you can hear it, so you can get it on video, and it does hold it, like the app does keep the EVP. You can scroll down and
Right.
see. And it was really interesting to see it work. And so, and I thought to myself, wow, you know, because spirits can use technology. They can know how to use electricity. They know how to use our cell phones. Like they can make our cell phones do crazy things. They've made my cell phone do crazy things.
Right.
You know, so I just think that you're right. I think you're right with that because, you know, well, we all mature, we all grow, we all expand. So why wouldn't they figure out that stuff, right?
Right.
All right. So we're going to have to close this up, but
Oh.
I'm sorry. You're coming on again.
Okay.
I think this is the most I ever spoke on a show. This is so great. All right. So if you want to check out the research and all the video from where Susan and Tracy have been on their investigations, go to emeraldcoastparanormalconcepts.com, and you can check out also their YouTube channel, because there is a lot of video there and of the places that they have been to, and you will see what goes on in Florida. I'm trying to get them to come here to North Carolina. All right, so all right, y'all. So thank you for being guests tonight, and I hope all
Our
of you
pleasure.
who were able to watch tonight. I'm hearing Mom says that Facebook was acting kind of funky, so she wasn't able to find us on Facebook, but we had some listeners on YouTube, and we'll share it around. If any of you want to get a hold of Susan or Tracy, just go to their website. Again, emeraldcoastparanormalconcepts.com. And it'll be a real investigation. So have a wonderful week. Have a beautiful
You
week.
too.
And remember, keep your heart open and align with the energy of love.